A book that bridges the divide between magic and tech? Sign me up. Let's talk about industrial strength magic. Hey there everybody, welcome back to Fantasy Inc. My name is Wythe, and today we are talking about Industrial Strength Magic by Macronomicon, which for pseudonyms is a pretty dang good one. This book started out on Royal Road, if I'm not mistaken, and has gotten a lot of attention. So much so that it's been picked up by one of the well-respected audio publishers out there, Sound Booth Theater, and for book one, they did a phenomenal job on keeping readers engaged with their magic when it comes to narration and sound effects. To my knowledge, the series has 4 books out, and I'm unsure if it's complete or not due to the cover art of the 4th book. It makes me think that it might just be. But we're not here to talk about the series as a whole, we are here to talk about book 1. To give a semi-spoiler-free review, our main character is Perry Z, around the age of around 18 years old, and he has a pretty interesting lineage. In this world, we have very much an urban fantasy feel, and it was basically Earth up until the 1940s, 50s, or 60s when superpowers started to appear, when the Earth's tides started doing some funky magic stuff. That's created monsters aplenty, and it's given the people who are still around the ability to gain superpowers. Not everybody, but the select few out there that do have some pretty interesting kits. Now when it comes to Perry Z himself, his family is not a regular one. His mother is a basically mythical princess from a different world who also dealt with the tides and have come with their people to escape that world's fate. And his father is a 9-to-5 supervillain. So this has given Perry a pretty interesting viewpoint on what is considered ethical when it comes to being a superhero. He's willing to live in the gray where not everybody else is. In this case, Perry had a lot of magical potential, but due to some interesting tech stuff that his father did to him at a young age, he cannot utilize it like everybody else can. This is where his industrial strength magic comes in, and he's able to build gadgets that allow him to utilize magic, which really makes him a force in his own and is really one of the most unique superheroes out there. Now that you have the lay of the land, we'll go ahead and jump to the pro-con pro for this book right here, and my goodness, it was tough thinking of a con. But starting out with our first pro, it has to come down to the writing style of the book. Now, this one's pretty interesting. There's a lot of series out there that at the start of the journey for the hero, they have a mythical quest that they've got to go to, and the rest of the series is them trying to get to that goal. That is not what's happening here. It is very much broken into arcs throughout the first book, where there's a new problem on the horizon, and Perry is jumping straight into it whether he likes it or not. Very much an action-adventure first, but to some degree, it's a bit of a slice of life depending on what's going on throughout the series, where he has a new goal and it lasts a couple chapters here and there, but then he either completes it or fails and he jumps on into the next task. And for such a long book, I believe the audio is 24 hours, you very much get your money's worth because you're getting basically almost, it feels like episodes. So if this book were to ever become a series, I believe that would be the best bet, because I don't think a film could really do it justice. Now when it comes to the first con, it has nothing to do with the book itself. It is coming down to the timeline on when we're going to get the rest of the series. Sound Booth Theater is one of the best publishers in the audio space out there, in my personal opinion, and they very much focus on quality. That hurts us when it comes to the quantity, however, because they have so much demand and the supply for these great sound effects that they put in there, these great narrators, you know, they have a lot on their plate because so many different series want to work with them. And sadly, it ensures that you're really not going to get multiple books within 1 year's time, at least usually. So for this one, even though book 1 is out, I imagine we're not going to see book 2 until at least halfway through this year, if not later, if I had to assume. And that's a shame, but I know for a fact when they do pop the book out, everyone is going to fall in love with what they're able to do here. When it comes to the second and last pro, it definitely comes down to Perry's mentality. to some degree, he's turning into a bit of a psychopath, and I am all for it. I know that's a little strange, but hear me out here. A lot of characters out there, and don't get me wrong, this can be done beautifully, but when tough situations happen, they have to make hard choices, they will oftentimes crumble, and yes, you get great character growth out of them, and they're able to really build up better foundations when these tough situations come around. Another book series that I'm going to be reviewing pretty soon is just a perfect example of this. But in Perry's case, he's really able to wash that water off his back, and he's not going to be really down in the dumps with these tough times that he's having to deal with. He's very analytical and very logical and with his mentality, and he's able to really not focus on the emotions at all while still not going completely ice cold on the reader. So I think this was a great balance, very much on the opposite side of the scale from what we usually get. I was a huge fan of this book. It left us on a cliffhanger, but that's completely fine. I didn't feel dissatisfied by that because we had gotten so many different stories throughout book one, arcs in this case, and I have high hopes that book two is just going to keep that ball rolling, and I cannot wait to check this one out. I did read this book about a month back, and I should have waited this long to record, so there's not going to be a deep dive because I don't think I can do it justice with my poor memory, so I hope that y'all can indulge me on this video if you don't mind, but I do recommend if you've not checked this book out, you will not be disappointed. You will get your money's worth and then some. So with all that said, I do appreciate everyone's time today. Thank y'all so much for your time, and be sure to keep reading.